We've been hearing whispers over at Marvel that the executives don't really know what they're doing. I mean, with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium, they thought it was going to be a hit and it turned out to be a bomb. And then reportedly, Kevin Feige saw the first half of the new Daredevil Born Again series and immediately fired the writers and directors and hired on a new team, which goes to show like, okay, they understand there's problems going on with the stuff they've been putting out. I mean, we've been seeing it at the box office time and time again, people not watching their Disney Plus shows. So they understand there's an issue and they understand it needs to be fixed, but I'm not confident that they can actually fix it. And right now we got an article from Variety, and when you get major media outlets basically talking about problems over at Marvel right now, it's becoming mainstream accepted that basically what people like myself have been saying online for the last couple of years is becoming accepted knowledge. Like, yeah, Marvel Studios is not good at this point and they need to do something fast to fix it. But it's just a question of whether they can actually fix it. And I am going to say no. And this is kind of the reason why. I mean, just a little bit of the background on where this is coming from. They had their executive meeting in Palm Springs back in September. And it was saying how they are usually more confident about what's been going on and more cocky about their future moving forward. But right now they've been kind of, it's a bit more somber. They've been trying to reflect on like, okay, what have we been doing wrong and how can we fix it? And one of the main talking points they had was about Jonathan Majors and his legal issues in New York. Because for people who don't know, he's playing Kang, and the whole future of the MCU was supposed to be based around Kang. He was their next Thanos, so to speak. And he's facing legal troubles for domestic violence, and he's going to be facing trial in New York. And even if he's acquitted of all charges, they still don't want to have someone with that reputation leading their, at least, being one of the leads of their MCU moving forward. So they're trying to shift focus. One of the things that they're suggesting is replacing him with Doctor Doom. And I think Doctor Doom is a fine choice for various reasons. But I think the buildup following Endgame should have been having bringing in the Fantastic Four, then building up to Galactus being the next big bad. Doctor Doom, I think he should have been more of a secondary antagonist approach, kind of like how Loki was an antagonist for the first era of the MCU, with Thanos being the primary antagonist. Then you could have Doctor Doom kind of take on the role that Loki had, with Galactus taking on the role of Thanos. I mean, at least that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments about that. But like I said, a lot of the issues they have with Marvel has just been them not knowing what they're doing and just trying to throw things at the wall and seeing what sticks. I mean, they even point that out, like with Kevin Feige, about how he was good about that in the past, just kind of taking the final movie and then giving it that polished and putting his own opinion into it and his own thoughts on it and making it work. And I think he was fine for that in the first phase of the MCU when you had talented writers and directors. But I think the studio saw Kevin Feige doing that and thought like, well, since he's doing most of the work anyway, let's just bring on cheap writers and directors. And when you have a cheap writer and director giving you crap to work with from the start, there's a lot more work involved with trying to fix it. And with the sheer volume of stuff they've been putting out, there's just too much for Kevin Feige to actually handle. I mean, that's why we've seen a lot of the budgets just ballooning. The Marvels, which is coming out in around a week, is one of the most expensive movies for the whole MCU. And it's been delayed multiple times, been shooting for like the last couple years, and I don't expect it to actually make any money. I think it's going to be another bomb versus the early phase of the MCU when you had talented writers and directors like Jon Favreau, Joe Johnston, Kenneth Branagh, like doing their thing. And then you can give that final Marvel polish to it. But even then, each movie feels like it's something unique, and we're not getting that anymore. And right now with Marvel, like I said, they understand that there's issues, and they even, for the most part, understand what the issues are, but they just don't have the right solutions. Like one of the things Bob Iger is even proposing, sources say they have been talks to bring back the original gang for an Avengers movie. This would include reviving Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. Oh, I'm sorry. This wasn't Bob Iger suggesting. This was just Bob Iger acknowledging that there's been problems with there, and then it was suggested that they're going to be bringing back those characters. So yeah, excuse me on that one. But anyway, I don't see this as a viable solution because they're basically looking at their whole catalog and saying like, okay, this first phase was really popular. Everyone loved it, and critics and audiences, and it made tons of money. So let's just try to recreate that. And that's not the solution. The reason those were successful is, like I said, you had talented writers and directors doing it. In the studio, I want to say they had a hands-off approach, but it was less involved than what they're doing now. And also they had an overall goal of like where it was building up to and what they were doing with it. Now they're just kind of floundering to try to figure out what they can actually do. And as a result, they're just kind of like throwing their hands up in the air and just like, let's just try to do what let's just retreat back under our comfort blanket, and hopefully that would save us. And I think it might actually help him. I mean, if you had another movie and you brought back Robert Downey Jr., I mean, threw a bunch of money at him to do this, I'm sure he would sign on. I mean, it would be expensive. Like they point out, it'd be a minimum of 25 million. It'd probably be closer to 40 because he's actually said he doesn't want to do it anymore. So, I mean, you give him a big enough check, I'm sure he'll sign on for it. But even then, like, I'm sure audiences would like to see him in the suit again. But it really would be a Band-Aid because it's not fixing the overall problem. You can't make every movie with Robert Downey Jr. You can't make every movie with the original Avengers. At some point, you have to start making new things. And I just don't see them actually doing that, at least not with the way they're approaching everything. Like I said, bring in talented writers and directors. Stop bringing in people who only have done a couple independent movies for low budgets to try to make your movies. I'm sure they're fine directors for that thing, but they're just not competent for something of this scale. So you need someone who can actually handle these projects. And until they actually do that, we're just going to see more flops and they're going to keep losing money. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And if you like this video, make sure you click that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.